saved, but don't forget about all the people that are still in a dangerous situation. And so for my friends that were in the pool, I was willing to do whatever it took. I yelled at them, I talked to them, I grabbed them, and I physically pulled them out of the pool. Now, didn't Jesus say to go out into the highways and byways and compel them to come? Compel is a very strong word. It's not a, excuse me, would you like to go to church? So compel is grabbing them and saying, come on, I'm giving you a ride, let's go to church together. And so, someone described Christianity this way. They said Christianity is like a starving man who found bread, going and finding all the other starving men and telling them where that bread can be found. And so we can't forget about all the people who are still going to hell. Thank God that you're saved, but let's not forget about all the hundreds of millions of people in India.
Yeah.
That still need Jesus.
Amen.
Let's not forget about all the people that my sister here reaches out to here in Bradenton.
Yeah.
There's a youth group in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The name of that youth group is 180. And the significance of that is that you're supposed to turn 180 degrees away from your sin and go towards God. And I always thought that if I ever have a youth group, I wouldn't name it 180. I would name it 360. Yeah. Not because it would be better than another youth group, but I think we should turn away from our sin, but then we should go back and rescue other people who are still living in their sin. Or you could just name your youth group 720 and be known as a dizzy Christian. But the point is that there's a world full of people out there that need Jesus. And it is our job, our commission, our responsibility to go and to tell people about Jesus.
Yeah.
Amen?
Amen.
Reason number 2 to be a soul winner. The world needs you to be a soul winner. Everyone raise your hand like this and say, the world needs me to be a soul winner. Psalm 74 verse 20 says, the dark places of the earth are full of the habitation of cruelty. And we've noticed that in all the different places where we go, that if we go to a place that Jesus is not known, there is oppression, there is poverty, often there is war, there are serious issues in the society, and even here in Bradenton, where there are families where people don't know Jesus, you're going to see all kinds of problems. They're struggling with divorce, their kids are struggling with getting good grades in school, and so the world is a dark place.
Yeah.
And they need to see the light of Jesus.
Amen.
Can you say amen?
Amen.
Several years ago, my family visited one of the greatest natural wonders in the world. It's a place called Carlsbad Caverns. It's this huge cave system in New Mexico. And we started up at the top of the earth, and there's this big mouth to the cave where all the bats fly out. And so we started at the mouth of the cave, and we walked down, 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 deep into the dark depths of the cave. As we walked, the guide told us stories about the original explorers of this cave. They were extremely brave men and women who would explore using nothing but a tiny candlelight. And when we reached the bottom of the cave, we were over 1 mile underground. The guide told us that she wanted to duplicate the conditions that the original explorers went through. And so she sat us all down on a bench, and then she walked over to a light switch, and she turned out the light. And suddenly, it was dark. It was so dark that I could not see my hand in front of my face. It was so dark, I couldn't see the person next to me. Total and complete darkness. And she let me stay there for several minutes so that our eyes would dilate and get used to the darkness. Then she reached in her pocket and she pulled out a cigarette lighter. Now when she said she was going to light that cigarette lighter, I thought to myself, this cave is so dark that that tiny cigarette lighter is not going to make much of a difference. Maybe we'll be able to see a little area around her face. At the very most, maybe a little area around her face, her feet. But that tiny candlelight is not going to make much of a difference. But when she lit the cigarette lighter, We were in a room about 3 or 4 times the size of this room. And when she lit that tiny cigarette lighter, suddenly we could see the entire cave. We could see the stalactite, we could see the stalagmite, we could see all the people in our group. That cave was a very dark place. But all it took was one light to light up the dark cave. The world is a very dark place. But all it takes is one light to light up a dark world. And Jesus said in Matthew chapter 5, verse 16, "Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven." Each one of you is called by God to be a shining light in the midst of great darkness. There's a lot of people out there that don't know Jesus. There's a lot of families that need help. There's a lot of countries like Liberia, like India. There's countries all over the world that need Jesus. They're dark. But all it takes is one light. And Mr. Scott, you are a light in the midst of great darkness.
Amen.
Pastor Chuck, you are a light in the midst of great darkness. Everyone raise your hand and say, "I am a light."
I am a light
in the midst of great darkness.
in the midst of great darkness.
Jesus said, "I am the light of the world." And if you have Jesus inside of you, then you should be shining bright for Him. You can tell when someone loves Jesus because in their eyes you see the love of Jesus. You see the light of God in them. Amen? And someone said, "Don't curse the darkness when you can light a candle." You know, a lot of people talk about all the problems. They say, you know, there's all kinds of economic problems, and Wall Street is going up and down, and they focus so much on the problems. I say, why curse all the problems when you can light a candle? Find someone who has a need and begin to meet that need. And God will use you to minister to them. Amen?
Amen.
And someone also said, the light that shines farthest shines brightest when you're at home. That's why I like this church, Pastor Chuck, so much. Because you have a light that shines all over the world. Did you know that when I went to Pakistan, I met someone who Pastor Chuck had been with? And then I went to Indonesia, and a city, and they told me Pastor Chuck had been to that city. And so this church right here has been all over the world, and even today is shining the light of Jesus all over the world. And the light that shines farthest shines brightest near at home. Amen? All right. Now let's look at